In the past, I made numerous videos demonstrating the various ways that you can eliminate your enemies in Yandere Simulator: poison, electrocution, drowning, etc. However, many of these features could only be used on one specific student, Kokona Haruka, and these features were only available during scripted events. For example, the only opportunity to electrocute Kokona occurred on Wednesday morning in the girls' restroom. Waiting for scripted opportunities to become available at predetermined times doesn't sound very fun. Fortunately, that's not what I had in mind for the game. I want the player to have multiple ways to influence and manipulate students to direct them towards danger. That's one of the things I worked on during the month of January, and that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. At lunchtime, almost every student will sit down and eat food. If you distract a student with a noise, the student will step away from their food to investigate. This gives you the opportunity to put something nasty into their food while they're not looking. There are 4 different substances you can put into someone's meal: lethal poison, emetic poison, a sedative, or a chemical that will induce a headache. Obviously, lethal poison will kill the victim immediately. Emetic poison will cause them to run to the nearest restroom and vomit. A sedative will make the victim sleepy, and they will go to the infirmary to take a nap. If you cause a student to develop a headache, they will go to the school nurse and ask for medicine. The nurse will unlock a medicine cabinet to get some pills for the student. When she steps away from the unlocked cabinet, the player has a small window of time to steal a tranquilizer, which can be used for kidnapping. If a student sees you tampering with someone else's food, your reputation will be damaged, which could eventually lead to a game over. And if a student catches you tampering with their food, they will refuse to eat it. Previously, it was only possible to poison one specific student during one scripted event. Now you can poison any student, as long as you create a distraction. If the player wants to put a student into a vulnerable situation, they have to take action to create that situation, instead of just waiting for a predetermined event. This is the type of gameplay I've always wanted the game to have. Another feature that was previously limited to a single scripted event was electrocution. But as of now, you can electrocute any student by setting up a trap and directing the student towards that trap. I'll explain the process. Yandere Simulator School now has drinking fountains. You can use them to wash blood and fingerprints off of murder weapons. I have also added a wrench to the school. With a wrench, you can loosen the pipes under a drinking fountain to create a leak, which turns into a puddle of water. I have also added a power strip, which you can plug into any wall outlet in the game. You can use a screwdriver to expose the wires of a power strip. And if you activate a strip while its wires are in a puddle of water, the puddle becomes electrified. I have also added a new vending machine to the game that dispenses salty snack food. If you give one of these snacks to a student, the salt will make them thirsty, and when they are done eating, they will travel to the nearest drinking fountain to quench their thirst. And if you created a puddle of water at that drinking fountain, then... In 2017, I referred to this style of gameplay as organic game design, but the proper term for it is actually emergent gameplay. In short, situations emerge as the natural result of the player using the game's basic mechanics to influence and direct the actions of other characters. Imagine Yandere-chan as a sinister conductor, silently orchestrating events to her satisfaction. With that said, there will be some scripted events in the game. For example, Osana will sunbathe at the pool at lunchtime on Wednesday, and when she does this, there is an opportunity to eliminate her in a unique way. When an event like this is going to occur, there will be hints earlier in the day that inform the player of the upcoming opportunity. For example, when Yandere-chan is stalking Senpai on his way to school, she might eavesdrop on a conversation that he has with the current rival.
Hey, senpai. Do you ever have recurring nightmares?
Nightmares? Well, lately I've been having a dream where I'm standing outside of school, underneath a tree, and for some reason, I can't move a single muscle. I'm like a statue. I guess I wouldn't really call it a nightmare, just a weird dream. How about you?
Sometimes I have dreams where somebody ties my hair around something really heavy and throws it into the ocean. I get dragged into the water and drown.
That sounds pretty scary. You know, I read a book that said our dreams are actually reflections of our subconscious feelings. Maybe your dream means that you subconsciously feel worried that your hair is a hazard. If you cut your hair, maybe you'd stop having the nightmares.
No way! It took years for my hair to get this long. I wouldn't cut it because of a scary dream.
When do you plan to cut your hair anyway? It's almost touching the ground.
I made a promise to myself not to cut it until a certain idiot stops being stupid and realizes how I feel.
Huh? I don't get what you mean.
Anyway, if our dreams really do have meaning, what does your dream represent?
I haven't really figured that out yet.
For an added challenge, I might decide that these events will not occur without assistance from the player. For example, maybe Osana won't be able to sunbathe because she forgot her sunscreen at home. The solution is for the player to steal sunscreen from someone else and put it in Osana's bag so that the sunbathing event is able to take place. If the player wants an opportunity to eliminate their rival, they should have to create that opportunity with skill and effort. Now imagine a brand new player who has never seen my YouTube channel and is entering Yandere Simulator completely blind. There are a lot of mechanics they probably wouldn't know about. For example, how would a new player know that it's possible to use a wrench on a drinking fountain, or use a screwdriver on a power strip? I think I know the right way to make this type of information available to the player. If the player wants to learn what kind of devious opportunities are present at school, they can simply contact InfoChan. InfoChan's menu has a section called Schemes. From this menu, the player will be able to purchase a step-by-step walkthrough that will guide them through the process of creating a lethal situation, such as an electrified puddle of water. InfoChan accepts panty shots as payment for her information, but if you're not comfortable with that type of currency, you could do other types of favors for her, such as placing covert listening devices around school. It's also possible that the player might be able to earn favors from InfoChan by gathering blackmail for her. I might discuss this concept in further detail in the future. In addition to updating the poison and electrocution mechanics, there were also a lot of other things that I accomplished during the month of January. I implemented 4 new students, a new task, a new murder method, a new area at school, a new type of weapon, and some miscellaneous things just for fun. I feel like I made a massive amount of progress last month, and I hope that this level of productivity continues throughout 2019. There are still several features in Yandere Simulator that only apply to Kokona. For example, she's the only character who can be pushed off the school roof, lit on fire, or framed for murder. In the near future, I'll be updating these features so that they can apply to everyone, not just Kokona. This is the part of the video where I usually display a checklist of the last remaining features I still need to work on before I'll be able to start implementing the first official rival. However, this checklist keeps changing every time I display it, because I'm constantly remembering things that I forgot to add to the list. Even now, there are still some changes and additions that I'm considering. Most of these ideas have been on my mind for a very, very long time. Some of them feel absolutely necessary to ensure a quality gameplay experience, but others are kind of optional. It's too early for me to say which of these tasks I'm going to commit to, so it's difficult to construct an accurate checklist at this point in time. Even though I can't tell you exactly how close we are to the finish line, I feel great about the current pace of development. I'm accomplishing so much so quickly that it feels like I'm finally returning to my peak levels of productivity. I feel very optimistic about the game's future right now, and I hope you do too. Thank you for following the development of Yandere Simulator.